Wow.
And I'm Beth Jones. One person was killed and at least one more seriously injured in a crash in Waterville.
According to the Waterville Police Department, around 2:30 this afternoon, a gray Toyota sedan and a large white work truck collided on the corner of West River Road and Trafton Road in Waterville. Police aren't releasing many details.
This time we have confirmed one fatality. We do have a second patient that was transported to Inland Hospital with significant injuries.
Say they'll be releasing more information once next of kin have been notified. Waterville Police and fire departments responded to the scene. They were assisted by the Maine State Police accident reconstruction team.
Meanwhile, a Louisiana man has been charged with manslaughter in connection with the death of a child in Thomaston. 23-year-old Isaiah Scott was arrested in New Orleans this morning. A spokesperson for the Maine Department of Public Safety says 22-month-old Quayshawn Wilson died in Thomaston on May 29th. And according to that spokesperson, an autopsy determined the cause of death to be blunt force trauma. Scott, who is originally from Louisiana, had recently moved to Maine and was living with his girlfriend and child in Owl's Head. He returned to Louisiana after the child's death. The spokesperson says the process to extradite him back to Maine for the manslaughter charge is now underway.
On Tuesday, Dover-Foxcroft residents will vote on a number of questions during the town's referendum election, including one that will decide the future of a local landmark. Our David Ledford spoke with town officials to break down those questions.
On June 11th, Dover-Foxcroft residents will head to the polls to weigh in on the town's municipal budget, several land use ordinances, and the fate of the Mayo Mill Dam.
The only item that's truly controversial and has people riled up is the dam question, because it represents change in the community.
Town officials say the dam poses safety risks, and bringing it up to code would cost at least $10 million, a bill that would fall to the taxpayers.
There hasn't been any power produced since 2007, and the industry no longer is operational. The dam contributes to flooding in our community, and that's a public safety issue that literally cuts the town in half.
However, removing the dam would come at no cost to the town, thanks to the project's eligibility for public and private grant funding. Town officials say some locals disapprove of the removal because of the dam's history.
They've seen that view of the river with the dam on it for their entire lives.
While the dam is the most hotly debated issue, town officials say it's important to weigh in on the rest of the referendum questions. Article 1 addresses the local school district budget, while Article 2 asks voters to increase the municipal budget to $9.1 million, partly to address road and bridge work in the town. And Articles 4 through 8 amend or enact land use ordinances.
Even though it's a state primary, it's primarily local issues, but it's very important that people come out for this election.
Polls open at 8 a.m. Tuesday at the town's municipal building. To review all of the ballot articles ahead of the referendum, visit our website. In Dover-Foxcroft, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine senior senator grilled one of the nation's top law enforcement officials over illegal marijuana grows in Maine linked to China. The exchange came during the Senate Appropriation Committee's hearing to review the FBI's budget request for the upcoming fiscal year. Senator Collins pressed FBI Director Christopher Wray over actions the Bureau is taking to crack down on the illicit grow operations.
What is the FBI's theory about why Chinese nationals or Chinese transnational criminal organizations are setting up these illegal marijuana growing operations in states like Maine?
So it's something we have a number of investigations into, as you might imagine. I guess speaking in my sort of intelligence agency leadership role, we don't yet see, but we're obviously investigating, any direct ties between these grows and, say, the Chinese government itself. But we are starting to see, as we unpack this more ties between a lot of these growing operations and Chinese organized crime.
The exchange comes after Senator Collins and the entire Maine delegation sent letters to Attorney General Merrick Garland raising similar concerns.
After growing safety concerns, the city of Bangor is considering a proposal to expand its current ban on loitering in some areas of the city. But that possibility is sparking concerns from advocates who say the proposal is unconstitutional. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
The city of Bangor is no stranger to loitering.
There's a loitering ordinance that the city has, and it's been in effect for quite some time.
According to Bangor's city solicitor, the city council is considering a new proposal that would add further provisions to the current law that prohibits people from obstructing both vehicle and pedestrian traffic in a public place.
The proposed one is a very narrow proposed addition to that ordinance that would say that you can't loiter on a median that's less than 6 feet wide in a high traffic, a high speed or high volume traffic area.
Growing safety concerns inspired the new proposal.
There's a narrow median on the Odland Road that is particularly dangerous.
However, some say this act is an infringement on First Amendment rights.
People have free speech rights in public. They have rights in the sidewalks, the streets, the parks, public squares.
ACLU of Maine has challenged similar ordinances in the past.
Bangor has a number of tools at its disposal to address this issue. They don't have to interfere with people's freedom of speech.
However, Bangor officials say this issue is not about free speech.
We are not favoring any form of speech. You can't loiter in these particular areas, and it doesn't matter if you're not saying anything. It doesn't matter.
According to Sevchek, the city council is expected to review the proposal at their upcoming meeting, but he says they will need to review it at least twice before any changes are made to the ordinance. In Bangor, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
$4.3 million is going to the Passamaquoddy tribe to build an eel aquaculture facility at Indian Township in Princeton. The money is coming from USDA Rural Development, and a statement says it'll be an alternative to wild harvesting. The grant was one of only 8 given out across the nation. USDA Rural Development Director for Maine, Rhiannon Hampson, said the grant is an important investment in the tribal business and a critical step for a heritage industry. Hampson said, quote, "Resilience is rooted in diversity and innovation. By supporting this partnership, we are celebrating traditional resource harvesting while recognizing that innovation helps to achieve our goals for sustainable market access."
All right, and a bit of a whirlwind outdoors today. We started off really nice out
nice
there.
hot summer day-ish,
Exactly.
summer-ish.
Yeah. And then the summer storms came through.
Yeah, they sure did, and we were getting some pretty serious thunder and lightning over our head. I feel like it kind of shook the building a little bit, so we're sure many of you felt that as well. Let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast and see if any of those lingering storms will invade our overnight.
Thank you very much. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture. It's not just a store, it's an experience. And look at this, we had some beach weather out there for today. Bring out the grills, the bikes, whatever you got going on. Hope you did it outdoors. High temperature around 86 degrees here in town. Just felt like a middle of summer type of day. Of course, now things have changed. We did see some showers and thunderstorms roll past our area. Still some showers falling down right now, and we will continue to clear up overnight as this line of showers and thunderstorms finally makes its way out of our area. Still some gusty winds, though. We're looking at a 13-mile-per-hour sustained wind in town, pretty much at 0 by Bar Harbor, Rockland, Machias. You're at a solid 5-mile-per-hour breeze. Overnight, though, we're going to see those calm winds, breaks, and clouds, and temperatures back in those mid to upper 50s.
Alrighty, Conrad, thank you. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the interlibrary loan system has been temporarily suspended, and the repercussions are now being felt across the state.
And an audit of Versant Power has been ordered by the Maine energy regulators after rate increases and other actions taken by the company. We'll have those stories and more local news when we come right back.
Let love bloom in a brand new 2024 Subaru Forester. Buy with 1.9% financing or lease for just $319 per month. It's your Forester. Find it at Quirk Subaru.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
I've been with US Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
Vehicle running a little rough? Let DNS Auto and Brewer fix you right up. Sales and full service repair shop. Running great now. DNS Auto, 510 Wilson Street in Brewer. Building relationships through quality sales and service.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I can see your voice!
America's favorite guessing game is back. I Can See Your Voice, Thursdays on Fox.
Plan your next road trip in a new Hyundai from Quirk in Bangor. Experience unmatched safety and style. Lease 24 Tucson XRT for only $369 per month while enjoying 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. It's your Hyundai. Find it at Quirk.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear the latest on the possible loitering ban that could take effect in Bangor that has already received both support and criticism. Plus, all the reactions from local politicians on President Biden's new immigration reform policy. We'll have these stories plus that pet of the week coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Some Maine libraries can't get books for their readers after the interlibrary loan system was temporarily suspended. Our Callie Warren has the story.
We just had to say no to somebody who was like, oh, I'm reading this series, I'm enjoying this author, can I get the next one? No.
Small libraries depend on the interlibrary loan system to provide their patrons with access to materials they don't have.
Boy, do we depend on van delivery.
But after a contract issue, the service has been indefinitely suspended. According to the Maine State Library website, their contract with the courier service they've previously used for library book loan transfers is up at the end of the month. For legal reasons, an open bidding time occurred for new contracts. A company that placed a bid to provide the courier service had their bid rejected. The state has granted them the opportunity to appeal, but with little time left on the previous contract, materials can no longer be placed on loan because there will be no way to deliver them. The Maine State Library declined to comment due to the pending litigation. Library staff say smaller libraries, like Carver Memorial, are being hit harder by the interlibrary loan hiatus.
But people want to read what they want to read, which of course they should, but we usually fix that by lending and borrowing, and right now we can't.
Librarians say there's no timeline for when this issue will be resolved, which affects patrons' ability to access materials. The Edith Dyer Community Library in Hamden is also grappling with uncertainty regarding the suspension.
So I can't get DVDs anymore?
Not from other libraries, unless you want to actually go to one of the other libraries.
Oh, what a great idea. Yeah, I'll go to Portland every day.
The uncertainty of it causes some anxiety. We'll try to just take it a day at a time, a patron at a time.
For more information on resources and library loan alternatives, visit our website at foxbangor.com. Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, Maine energy regulators have ordered an audit on the state's second largest utility. The Maine Public Utilities Commission says they have, quote, questions and concerns related to rate increases and other actions taken by Versant Power in recent years. Regulators say they will examine all of Versant's functions, including the effectiveness of senior managers and board of directors to manage operations, customer service the company provides, and billing practices, among other issues. According to Public Advocate Bill Harwood, management audits typically happen every 3 to 6 years. Versant Power responded to the audit by saying, quote, transparency with our regulators is an essential and expected part of our business. Versant Power appreciates the opportunity to demonstrate the professionalism and discipline we exercise every day in delivering safe, reliable service to our customers, end quote.
Some of the world's top sailors are in Portland competing in the 2024 Atlantic Cup. Asia Reed is at 4 Points Marina, where teams were docked ahead of the race before the start at Munjoy Hill.
The final leg of the Atlantic Cup kicks off today. It started down in South Carolina and finishes up right here in Casco Bay. It's an elite race spanning more than 1,000 nautical miles. Sailors use these 40-foot-long sailboats with a crew of only 2 people each. 8 teams are competing from all across the world, including Pietro Luciani from Italy, who won this race back in 2018.
We know we are just 2 people on board, so it's one in the cockpit, one in the bow, doing maneuvers, speed up, speed down. It's a little bit active, yes.
Atlantic Cup co-founder Giuliana Barbieri says they'll cover 40 miles today, which could take each boat a few hours. It's quite the adventure and no easy task.
They have to manage their sleep, when they eat. Every maneuver, they need both people on deck.
Margarita Modino preps the boats and says there's a big difference between these and a standard sailboat.
The bow is really particular of this new kind of boat because they're rounded and lifted, so they makes the boat really go faster.
Race director Hugh Piggin says your mental game is one of the most important parts of this race.
I think it's the mental challenge. I mean, the sailors in this race are very talented and they're very good and they push their boats really hard. So keeping yourself mentally focused, keeping the boat going.
Tomorrow is the final day of the race where the champion of the Atlantic Cup will be crowned.
That looks like an amazing event. I mean, I would be all about jumping in there and helping out, but as a newbie, and a 2-person crew, I'll probably just be, watching.
Right, and really cool to take a look at those some of those newer style sailboats and hear about what makes them go even faster.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've never done, but would love to learn.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks, well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, fighting in southern Gaza continues to escalate, but the Israeli military turning its focus to the north.
And veterans from the U.S., United Kingdom, and Canada have gathered together in France to celebrate the fallen heroes who helped liberate Western Europe. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Depression is a journey. I'd made some progress on my antidepressant, had some daily wins in reducing my symptoms, but I was still masking my depression. So I talked to my doctor. She told me I could build on my wins without changing my antidepressant.
Rexulti, when added to an antidepressant, significantly reduced depression symptoms more than an antidepressant alone.
And less depression, that's a win.
Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have an increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells. Unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Keep moving forward. Ask your doctor about Rexulti.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our Stable Lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
If you've been injured, call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke about a range of topics in an unusual appearance in front of the press. It comes as President Biden is in Europe, where he will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Fox's Connor Hansen reports.
In a rare event, Russian President Vladimir Putin took questions from an international group of journalists. Russia's war with Ukraine dominated the conversation. Putin was asked what it would take to end the conflict.
If you want to stop combat actions in Ukraine, stop supplying weapons, and hostilities will end in 2, maximum 3 months.
The U.S. and allies have been doing the opposite, continuing to send military aid. And in a recent change of policy, Ukraine used U.S.-supplied weapons to strike certain targets inside Russia. Putin claims Russia could do the same by sending its own weapons to places within striking distance of Western targets. The Russian president was also asked if he could resort to using nuclear weapons.
We have our nuclear doctrine. Look at what is written there. If somebody's action will threaten our sovereignty and territorial integrity, we consider it possible to use all means at our disposal.
President Biden is traveling to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. While in Europe, Biden will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and other leaders to discuss the current state of the war.
One of the things that President Zelensky will be focused on is air defense, how to defend the skies of Ukraine from Russian missiles and Iranian drones raining down on them.
As tensions over Ukraine intensify, Russia is sending warships to the Caribbean for naval and air drills. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Meanwhile, we're learning details of what some say is a Russian disinformation campaign targeting the upcoming Paris Olympics. A report says Moscow's tactics are evolving and include the use of artificial intelligence to imitate a famous American actor's voice. Fox's Jillian Turner reports.
We have been working with the French government for some time to ensure a safe, secure Olympics.
The State Department says Russia is already trying to scare Americans attending the Paris Olympics this summer using disinformation warfare.
It's especially not surprising that they're doing it with respect to the Olympics, where their athletes are banned from competing under the Russian flag because of the Kremlin's long history of abusing fair competition in the Olympics.
Take a look at this deep fake of Hollywood actor Tom Cruise appearing to insult the International Olympic Committee overseeing the Games. This fake press release warns the public of terror attacks in Paris this summer. And this fabricated news clip claiming nearly a quarter of Paris 2024 tickets have been returned due to fears of terrorism. All these forgeries created by an infamous Russia-affiliated influence actor known as Storm 1679. French President Emmanuel Macron sent out warning flares 2 months ago, telling reporters he had no doubt whatsoever Russia would try to ruin the Paris Games. The Russian embassy in Paris says the accusations are false. The Kremlin is echoing that message.
Such messages are simply sweeping criticism, which has no basis in argument or anything. It has nothing to do with reality. This is absolute slander and nothing more.
In Washington, Jillian Turner, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the Israeli military isn't just focused on Gaza. Now they are increasingly turning their focus north to Lebanon. Fox's Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv.
As the fighting in southern Gaza escalates, the focus turned north on Wednesday after a gunman attacked the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. The Lebanese military said its soldiers responded, shooting a Syrian national thought to be the only assailant, with eyewitnesses describing a chaotic scene that unfolded quickly.
It didn't take a lot of time, but we heard around 15 to 20 rounds of gunfire. We ran here to see what's happening, and suddenly the army blocked us from going up. They told us somebody is shooting at the embassy.
The attack came as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu toured his country's northern border with Lebanon, following a series of massive wildfires there, sparked by Hezbollah rocket fire. Netanyahu hinting at a possible new offensive to take out the militants.
Whoever thinks that he will hurt us and we will sit idly by is making a big mistake. We are prepared for a very strong action in the north.
Meanwhile, a big diplomatic push is underway to get both sides to agree to a new ceasefire proposal backed by the White House. Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaking with his counterparts in Morocco, Algeria, and Saudi Arabia this week, building regional support for the plan. which the administration says is the last best hope to end the fighting and bring the hostages home.
It is time to finalize this agreement, put an end to the violence, and to build a better future for both Palestinians and Israelis alike.
Hamas said Tuesday it won't accept any deal that doesn't include a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Dozens of World War II veterans from the U.S., U.K., and Canada are in Normandy this week to mark 80 years since D-Day. The invasion in Nazi-occupied France helped end the war and liberate Western Europe from Hitler's control. The fight came at a heavy cost, which veterans still honor and remember today. Fox's Greg Palcott has more.
A somber tribute to fallen heroes in France. Dozens of U.S. World War II veterans lining up in wheelchairs to lay roses at what was then called Utah Beach. More than 150,000 Allied troops stormed the coast in Normandy on June 6, 1944, on what is known as D-Day, the largest air, land, and sea invasion in history.
I wasn't afraid. I was buoyed up by the event happening.
While the invasion and the battles that followed would help lead to the end of World War II, it came at a heavy cost. Tens of thousands of Allied soldiers lost their lives. This week, vets from the U.S., Britain, and Canada came together to honor their fallen friends, including their enemies on the other side.
You know, we strut around and say, well, we beat the Germans. But the Germans lost thousands of men, you know, and they had families just like me.
Part of the day also included parades and reenactments, including one where hundreds of paratroopers from several nations parachuted into a historic D-Day drop zone in France. Over in the UK, veterans were honored at a major ceremony that included King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and the Prime Minister.
It is our duty to ensure that we and future generations do not forget their service and their sacrifice in replacing tyranny with freedom.
President Biden will also be paying his respects to fallen veterans at ceremonies near the beaches of Normandy on Thursday. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
It's incredibly moving, incredibly somber and moving, and you think about everything that went on D-Day. I mean, 150,000 Allied soldiers on Utah Beach, and it's incredible. It's incredible the bravery that was shown that day.
And always amazing to be able to hear from those who were there that day.
Yeah, that is truly extraordinary and a gift that we should not, take lightly.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, nearly 10 years after she was exonerated, Amanda Knox heading back to a courtroom in Italy.
And in sports, we'll take you around the area for some of the day's high school playoff games, and of course, some Celtics talk. Stay with us.
The $1 Million Music Game Show is back.
We need you to remember the lyrics of the song.
Don't forget the lyrics, all new Thursdays on Fox.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
PDQ Door, Maine's choice for CHI doors, boosting the beauty, value, and security of your home with tough, dependable, and customizable CHI doors. And during PDQ Doors spring sale, enjoy $50 off a service call and $150 off any garage door and opener package. CHI Doors from PDQ Door. Hamden, Rockport, Bath, Waterville, Holton, Presque Isle, and PDQDoor.com.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, chances are you have a lot of questions. Norm Prouty has answers. Learn some tips and tricks and explore some beautiful new homes on the market. The Norm Prouty and Danielle Baker Real Estate Show, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on Fox 22.
The Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub is world-renowned for beautiful dining with a delicious view, featuring award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. It's a true destination dining experience. Relax and unwind in an intimate space with your loved ones, family, and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table on the deck, whether it's a special occasion or any occasion. The Lucerne Inn is the perfect choice for your business or family gathering.
Hey Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick 'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick 'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
A Democratic-led effort to advance legislation protecting women's access to contraception fell short in the Senate Wednesday. The vote to advance the measure failed with 51 votes in favor to 39 against, with just 2 Republicans joining Democrats and independents. It needed 60 votes to move forward. Lawmakers knew it was unlikely to pass, but are using the issue to serve as an election year litmus test. Contraception has been increasingly entangled in the abortion debate in some conservative states, and Democrats are hoping to make both a deciding issue at the ballot box this November. A similar vote on ensuring nationwide access to in vitro fertilization could come as soon as next week.
Amanda Knox returned to an Italian courtroom on Wednesday where a judge reconvicted her of slander. It comes nearly 10 years after she was exonerated by Italy's highest court in the 2007 death of her roommate. Fox's Greg Palcott has that story.
An Italian court reconvicting Amanda Knox of slander on Wednesday for wrongfully accusing a Congolese bar owner of murdering her roommate and fellow exchange student in 2007.
Amanda is very upset, and from the outcome of this hearing, she was looking to have a final point of all this 17 years now judicial procedure.
Knox was sentenced to 3 years behind bars for the slander conviction, though she will not serve any more jail time as the sentence counts as time already served. The 36-year-old previously spent 4 years in jail after being wrongfully convicted in the murder of her roommate. She was exonerated in 2015.
The precise terms we will see shortly. What I can absolutely state is that Amanda Knox's guilt as the perpetrator of the crime of slander has been confirmed.
The case was based on 2 statements typed by police and signed by Knox after that 2007 murder. She told police under intense questioning that the owner of a bar she was employed at was the killer. Before the verdict was handed down Wednesday, Knox told the judge panel, quote, "I am very sorry that I was not strong enough to resist the pressure of police," adding, quote, "I didn't know who the murderer was. I had no way to know." Rudy Guaida, an immigrant from the Ivory Coast, was eventually convicted in the murder and released in 2021. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Boeing successfully launched its first crewed mission to space on Wednesday. NASA says it hopes to use both Boeing and SpaceX to taxi astronauts to and from the International Space Station. Fox's Jonathan Seri has more.
After several scrubbed attempts, Boeing launched its first astronaut crewed flight to space on Wednesday. The Starliner capsule took off just before 11 a.m. local time from Florida's Space Coast on its way to the International Space Station.
We all know that when the going gets tough, and it often does, the tough get going.
Commanding the test flight, 61-year-old Butch Wilmore, a former U.S. Navy captain. 58-year-old Sonny Williams, also a former Navy captain, is piloting the spacecraft. Their trip to the ISS is expected to last about 24 hours. The pair will spend about a week aboard before returning to the Starliner for a landing in the western U.S.
The prime focus of Sonny and Butch when they're on board the International Space Station is to check out the vehicle. As they have time available, we have some space station tasks for them to do.
Since early May, Boeing has had 2 scrubbed launches of the Starliner due to rocket-related problems. If this current trip goes well, NASA is planning to use both Boeing and Elon Musk's SpaceX to shuttle astronauts to and from space starting next year.
This is a really good day for America and NASA. There's a lot of return on investment just from the science and the engineering lessons that we're learning in space there.
Starliner is scheduled to return to Earth a week from Friday, but that could be delayed based on weather or mission objectives. At Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
All right, well, coming up next, we have the full 5-day forecast. Here's hoping there's more sunshine than rain. We'll see.
We shall. Stay tuned.
All right, my friends, we are looking at more chances of rain. This might be your best friend the next few days as more rain and some thunderstorms rolls back into our forecast. When? Out of the timing and more coming up.
You've always known what you wanted, no matter how far down the road it looked. We're here to help you get there. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
If you've been injured and think you can't afford a lawyer, think again.
You can hire Lowry & Associates, and there's no fee unless they win your case. Just call the twos.
We don't get paid unless you get paid. We call it the Lowry Guarantee.
They win or it's free. That's the Lowry Guarantee. Lowry & Associates settled my case for $400,000.
Call the twos. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
The Legacy Sandwich, where you can find quality homemade sandwiches that are made to order. When it comes to food, we take it seriously. That's why we serve shredded chicken and turkey on our sandwiches, and our bacon is cooked fresh daily. To pair with your sandwich, we also have a selection of homemade soups, macaroni salad, and baked goods for dessert. The Legacy Sandwich, voted Bangor's best deli sandwich shop for the past 12 years running. It's not just a sandwich, it's a legacy. Give us a call today.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
The Belmont Stakes from Saratoga. This is the test of the champion. Coverage begins Saturday, 4 Eastern on Fox.
And just like that, we're back. You know what else is back? Our Maine weather for tonight. That is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio in Penobscot Plaza in Bangor, providing custom ink by licensed artists for over 20 years. It felt like a summer day out there for today. Felt like we're back in middle of July, right? Mid-80s outside, 70s at the coast, a little bit of a breeze off the coast. Temperatures in the ocean, water temps are still at around 58, 59 degrees, so a lot cooler than our temperatures outdoors here in town. Now 90s back in Texas, almost at 100 degrees. El Paso, Phoenix, Las Vegas back over 100 degrees once again, and they will see that dry heat continuing out there pretty much every single day. Now water temps, like I was saying, folks, back in those upper 50s, a couple of lower 50s right here where those darker blue colors are. Well offshore, of course, you're not going to have the same temperature in the ocean. You're going to have a variety of different temperatures with that ocean current mixing it all up. Average highs around 72. This is air temperature wise, though a little above average for tomorrow, slightly below average for Friday, and then we're going to be closer to average right through the weekend. Monday and Tuesday, we are looking at closer to average temperatures back in those mid 70s. So not to worry, those 60s will be gone just like that. And that rain will be gone as well into these overnight hours. For now, we are looking at some scattered showers, even a couple of lingering rumbles of thunder or two earlier today, though. Definitely a lot more rain all over the region. Now, PA, upstate New York, Ohio, south of that, Virginia, you're looking at some showers right now. And look at this line of showers and thunderstorms making its way into Canada as well. Their version of severe weather, but as we continue to go overnight, that will be weakening. Now, rainfall-wise, though, this is for the next 5 days for our area. Potentially over an inch of rain in town, potentially over 2 inches of rain in Dover, Foxcroft, right up into Greenville, and north of that, these red colors indicating possibly over 3 inches of rain in some spots. So a good rainmaker is on the way, and several rainmakers. And we're not only talking one, we're talking several rainmakers the next several days. For tonight, though, mid to upper 50s, so above average temperatures, not bad. Showers and thunderstorms early overnight, then partly cloudy with some areas of dense fog. Pretty light winds, though. For tomorrow, those light winds will be continuing. Couple of sprinkles here and there. Other than that, we're going to be dry under a partly cloudy sky. Check out those temperatures, though, back in those mid 70s. So a lot cooler than what we saw out there for today, but still mid 70s. Hey, that's above average. I'll take that. Our extended forecast outlook does show 60s for Friday, 70 and thunderstorms on Saturday, back into those upper 60s with more chances of rain on Sunday.
All right, thank you, Conrad.
All right, so things staying pretty active.
Indeed.
All right, we'll have sports coming up next. Stay with us.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Wow. I thought you were right behind me.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When CTI Service Center in Milford wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. CTI Service Center provides outstanding automotive and heavy-duty equipment repair, including tire sales, mount and balance, alignments, and diagnostics. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
Let's face it, getting training and experience is hard, but at Loring Job Corps, we can help. From certifications in automotive technology, obtaining your CDL, or learning building trades, we have you covered. Maybe you prefer joining the high-tech world of computer networking or cybersecurity. We have that as well. Don't delay, get in the driver's seat to your future today. And the best part, Loring Job Corps is free. Receive free training, free meals, and even free housing. Call or go to jobcorps.gov/Loring. Job Corps careers begin here.
Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream is open for business. Located 5 miles off exit 244 in Medway, you will find affordable prices on all of your favorites. We offer homemade pizza, mouth-watering cheeseburgers, lobster rolls, scallops, and a local favorite is our sweet sausage sub. We also have kid-friendly meals and offer fresh doughboys and ice cream year-round. Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream. Stop by for a delicious bite to eat, and dessert too.
Tonight's sports is brought to you by the KG. Stop in for hunting and fishing supplies, apparel, and homemade food.
Who is ready for the NBA Finals? It has been a long wait, but the Celtics finally play basketball tomorrow. Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks both at TD Garden today, ahead of Game 1 of the 2024 NBA Finals. On Thursday, the Celtics will welcome back old friend, or maybe foe, depending on who you ask, Kyrie Irving. Irving was traded to Boston from the Cleveland Cavaliers after winning a ring with LeBron James, and famously said he'd love to re-sign before leaving us for the Brooklyn Nets. His relationship with Boston fans since has been rocky, to say the least, but leading up to this series, he gives some insight on his relationship with the Celtics players, mainly Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
You know, it's going to be adversarial on the court. It's going to be very competitive, but off the court, I mean, we know we know each other's families, and that's the type of relationship I've always wanted outside of the game of basketball, is to be able to have that balance, to compete with people on the court, but also treat them like my brothers and be there for them and whatever they need.
Should be a fun series. Irving is averaging over 22 points and 5 assists so far this postseason. On Wednesday night, the America East announced their Man and Woman of the Year for 2024, and taking the award back to Maine for just the third time is Connor Goodman. Goodman, a graduate senior for Maine baseball, had a tremendous off-the-field career. This past fall, his charity drive Goodies Gloves raised money and donated 84 gloves to the Orono and Old Town Little Leagues. In the spring, he was named an honorable mention by the Lou Gehrig Community Impact Association, one of just 15 players named to that list. A well-deserved recognition for an athlete that's really been a blast to cover over the past few seasons. Congratulations to Goody. All right, let's head up to Orono High School now. The Red Riots 2023 state championship 8-man football team gathering Wednesday night to truly make it official by putting rings on their fingers. Should have put a ring on it. The school's Performing Arts Center hosting a ring ceremony Wednesday night with every player and coach receiving them, which were made possible by donations from individuals and local businesses. With the Riots going 0 for 8 in 2021, a night like this seemed so far away. And even though 7 months have gone by since they defeated Old Orchard Beach in the state title game, the excitement still hasn't died off. Plus, to some, it's only just starting to sink in.
After the football state championship, I was already locked in on moving to that next season to try to push forward. So bringing it back and getting these today made it feel extra special today. We came out here and we worked hard and we had fun together doing it. And when you win, it makes it just as much fun.
It feels real, you know. Like you don't really realize it until you get the ring on. It's still crazy to me seeing these group of guys. It's played youth with them, middle school and now high school, and to accomplish this, it's you can't write it better. Can't write a better ending.
Oh, those look pretty nice there, too. Let's stay with some playoff action, but we'll pivot down to the high school level, stay at the high school level, and we'll kick off the day at Bordick Park. Class A North Regional quarterfinals. Top seed Hamden hosting the Brewer Witches. Top of the 6th, Brewer up 1 with a man on. Look at this throw from Rogan Lord to catch the runner stealing for the out. Just a great shoot right there from behind the plate. A few pitches later, the defense would keep rolling. Garrett McLeod at first base makes an incredible play on a hard hit ball that retires the side. But this game was all about Grady Venetestein. The senior dazzled again with 10 strikeouts over 6 2/3 innings, retires the side in the 6th right here. And look at that. He is pumped up. The Witches roll to a 1-0 upset victory.
It feels great. I mean, we got our redemption from last year. Last year was a horrible feeling. So, I mean, we got that great feeling back and winning a playoff game, and we're just going to keep on going.
Moving over to the turf at Hamden Academy, Broncos softball hosting Messalonsky. Bottom of the first, runner on for Lorelei Parker. She rips a liner into left. Charlie Shute is going to get on her horse. She comes around to score. That makes it 1-0 Broncos. But then the Eagles would settle in. 2 runners on, and Madison Wilson gets the grounder to third. Clean play from Elise McDonald. That ends that threat. Next inning, Kiara Gabrick. She's at the plate, sends a liner into right field, and Chloe Michoud makes the running play to grab the out. But the Broncos had it going on that defensive end, too. Shute had a gem in the circle, and Hamden advances to the semifinals with a 1-0 shutout win. Finally up to Old Town for a Class B baseball quarterfinal. Caribou Vikings visiting the Coyotes. First inning, Caribou up 1-0. Bryce Dillon, hard chopper to second. That takes a funny hop and gets into right field. Matt Pelletier is going to come around and score. Vikings up 3 after 1. Bottom of the frame, Jackson Lizotte up for Old Town. Puts a great swing on this ball. That goes off the wall and right. That is going to plate a run. Old Town clawing their way back. 3-2 now after a passed ball, but that doesn't faze Braden Brescia. Look at this curveball for the backwards K. Vikings allow just those 2 runs in the first, cruise to a 12-2 victory. And as for some other scores from around the area, PCHS in Greenville over Buckfield in 8 innings, 8-5. Ellsworth softball beats MDI 9-7. Washington Academy softball tops Orono 2-1, and MDI baseball over Coney 7-6. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are 0, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save, even if you don't think you qualify. It pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
Toyota has more hybrid all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive models than any other brand, like the RAV4 Hybrid with up to a 566-mile total driving range. See your New England Toyota dealer, your hybrid all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Angler's Restaurant with 2 locations in Newport and Searsport. Open daily from 11 to 8. We are your home for fresh seafood. Our specialty is scallops, lobster, fish and chips, and of course, lobster rolls. Now, if seafood is not your preference, we offer fan favorites like cheeseburgers and chicken tenders. Stop by for the atmosphere and stay for the incredible dining experience. Anglers, Maine's family seafood restaurant.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it.
Major League Baseball all season long on Fox.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
What do we have here? Surprise, surprise, or seen it coming? A trophy hunter or a party crasher?
Brown-tail moth caterpillar experts say we are experiencing one of the worst outbreaks in nearly a century. According to a professor of forest entomology at UMaine, these outbreaks are part of their natural cycle. However, there have been significant spikes due to changes in climate. The moths negatively impact the environment by eating the leaves off trees and causing damage, and they are also a public health threat as they have poisonous hairs that can cause a rash similar to poison ivy and even respiratory problems. However, there are steps that people can take to avoid exposure.
Wearing long sleeves and pants and covering up as much skin as possible. Waiting to mow the grass until the grass is a little bit wet to avoid kicking up those toxic hairs. And so there are a few things that we can do to reduce our risk.
MEC says they are monitoring the populations and looking at management methods to try and reduce them. She says we're currently in the worst stretch of the outbreak as they become full grown this time of year, and it is unclear when the uptake will subside. For more information on how to protect yourself, you can visit our website, foxbangor.com.
When you think of quicksand, you may think of a Tarzan or Indiana Jones movie where the star sinks slowly up to their neck before being rescued. Tonight, Brad Rogers has a real-life quicksand story, not in a jungle, but right here in Maine on one of our popular beaches.
The tide was coming in, so it was high tide.
Jamie Acord and her husband were walking along the shore of Popham Beach when the sand beneath their feet gave way.
And all of a sudden, I just went into the ground. I didn't panic. I wasn't scared. I dropped like a rock.
How far down did you go?
So I went to my hips. I couldn't touch the bottom. My husband just said, you were there and then you weren't. And he turned around and I looked at him and I said, I can't get out.
Park manager Sean Valancourt says it's not the first time it's happened.
We haven't had too many issues of it. A few people have stepped in and gone up to their knees or ankles or their waist. That's pretty typical around any river mouth.
But the river changed course last November. Now, instead of going straight out to sea, the river runs right along the beach, making the sand there unstable.
That sand's all full of water and saturated, so it's a lot looser. It's not a stable, flat bottom because there's so much water moving through the bottom of it, including the water that's coming in with the tide as well.
Does this qualify as quicksand?
Well, it depends. I guess technically that would be quicksand, but essentially what's happening, this phenomenon, is just oversaturated sand.
I had no idea that the sand was like quicksand.
Fortunately, she wasn't alone.
And as soon as my husband pulled me out, the whole hole just covered right up. We turned around and you couldn't even tell it was gone.
Park rangers tell us they'll soon be putting up signs here at Popham Beach State Park warning people about the possibility of quicksand-like sinkholes here on the beach. Park rangers say if you sink into the sand, don't panic. They say no one, not even children, will sink beyond their legs. They say you can lean forward or backward, try to wriggle out, or yell for help. They also say parents should keep children at arm's length when they're at or near the water.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. Well, if you've been by the Belfast Community Co-op lately, you might have seen construction crews outside and a different layout inside. But soon the caution tape will be replaced with ribbon. Our Doug Banks takes us to Belfast.
The sounds of grocery shopping. It's music to the ears of many. But a different tune has been playing at the Belfast Co-op.
It's become a part of the fabric of our co-op this last year, that's for sure.
Serving Belfast since 1976, the community co-op moved into its current location over 40 years ago.
Originally, it was an A&P grocery store that was built in 1963, and this building has not seen a lot of major improvements over that time.
Their new expansion project will include a 33% increase in store space, a 20% increase in available groceries, and the return of their cafe.
We still have a lot of work to do, all the finishing touches, but we've really come a long way.
Described by Martinelli as a finely choreographed dance, the co-op has remained open throughout construction, even hosting events.
Tomorrow night here in Belfast, I'm going to be speaking about the future of community-owned grocery stores, how things are shifting.
Staying open was always the priority because we wanted to serve the people who shop here, and we also wanted to serve our workers who work here.
The co-op has been subjected to many rearrangements, but some things remain the same.
We're still here for the community. We're still a community-owned business. And if anything, we're hoping that this expansion is going to allow us to serve more people.
All of their work will culminate in a June 21st ribbon-cutting ceremony. In Belfast, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A local nonprofit that helps UMaine students facing financial insecurities needs help to continue its mission. Last year, the Black Bear Mutual Aid Fund distributed more than $14,000 of financial assistance to students, faculty, and staff within the UMaine system. They plan to help as many applicants as possible in the upcoming school year, and the group is currently raising funds to do so. One of the defining principles of the Black Bear Mutual Aid Fund is how easy the organization makes applying for and receiving financial assistance.
Our goal is to make it as low entry as possible. We do have a review committee that does look through applications, but we haven't denied anybody yet, and we don't have any plans to, certainly. This money has gone towards medical bills, groceries, rent, like I mentioned, but also tuition bills, other academic bills, veterinary bills, a whole bunch of different things, you know.
To donate or to find out more information about the Black Bear Mutual Aid Fund, you can look for this story on our website, foxbangor.com.
Wonderful to know that, there's that help available for students who are, falling a little short in their finances and just need a little help.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of needs a bridge here and there.
Yeah, and it's cool to see students helping other students as well.
Yeah, always great to see.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for us. Take care and have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
Comfy.
body, make him stutter. Stop my engine, push the button, his son won't be coming first. You're the man, but I got the power.
Kimmel gets a visit from Larry David, Cyndi Lauper, and music from Feist. All new Jimmy Kimmel.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone.